What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Lightfall has finally arrived, and we got our all-new 3-man activity with the Defiant Battlegrounds. These things are definitely longer than our old Battlegrounds that we have had, in my personal opinion, but we do get some pretty great rewards and reputation that we can use at Mara Sov at the helm at the war table there to get some of our seasonal weapons with that Dreaming City theme. Very good rolls on some of these, so definitely suggest grinding out these. And for that power grind, it does drop a lot of pinnacle and powerful gears just by doing runs, so very good way to level up early inside of Lightfall. Now, to unlock these Defiant Battlegrounds, which are located at the helm, that nice terminal there, and we will have different locations. You can also go specifically to the one on the EDZ this week right now as we unlocked it, but you do have to progress the Lightfall campaign to a certain point where you get a quest from Mara Sov on Neomuna that is called Awaken the Queensguard. Now, the steps for this Awaken the Queensguard are very easy, but I will say if you want to continuously do these Battlegrounds, you will need the seasonal pass. The quest gives you one free run of the Battleground, but it is behind that seasonal pass. So for Awaken the Queensguard, all we got to do is step 1, visit that holo projector next to Nimbus on Neomuna, right there next to the vault and postmaster. We get a message from Mara Sov telling us to come on over to the farm at the EDZ. So we head to Mara Sov at the farm, where she's actually using her light to hold up and keep the farm stable. She is a baddie, and we all know it as the queen. So after we talk to her, we head on over to the holo projector with Devram Kerm, where he has some hype about Mara Sov using her light and tells us that we need to head into the Battleground for that Defiance and get our loot to free the prisoners. Specifically on our first run here, Amanda Holiday, who got captured during that nice raid of the Traveler and the Witness at the beginning with those cutscenes. Now, once we finish that Battleground and set Amanda free, we head back to the ward table to get a message from Mara where we unlock that seasonal node for the Defiance Battlegrounds, where you can go in and repeatedly do it for that loot as well as that pinnacle gear, everything like that with Mara Sov. Now, like I said in the beginning, these Battlegrounds are definitely a little bit longer than our old ones, so we're going to cover how to go through each of the steps because there are some little tips and tricks that definitely make it easier, and I've seen some people running through it not knowing what they're doing, so this is a nice easy little guide for completing all of the different steps of this Battleground. So to start off with these Battlegrounds, you will load into the respective area. Like I said, so far we only have the EDZ unlocked, but we will have other versions on different planets. When you load in, it is a pretty much add clear simulator to start out. You progress through different checkpoints on the EDZ here, wiping out many waves of the Shadow Legion that Callus is sending towards you. Now, you will have to deal with a couple champions and a couple people that are surrounded by Solar, Strand, etc. But without match game on, it is very nice, so you can kind of go in and just play to your heart's content. Now, Strand, in my opinion, is very, very good right now, especially Suspend, and with those changes to our subclass verbs, I've been running Strand to suspend unstoppable champions, which works super, super well, which we are dealing with here inside of the EDZ. But like I said, once you clear enough waves in the area and progress through your checkpoints, we head into a pad where Mara Sov uses her powers to send us to the Ascendant plane, where the Shadow Legion has taken over as their territory. Once we enter the Ascendant plane, we start dealing with the Taken, as always, pretty much inside of the Ascendant plane here, working towards a nice pyramid ship that these are taken of the Witness. So we progress through different checkpoints again, just like the beginning of the mission, as we head on towards our first boss, where we kind of utilize this mechanic where we cleanse the blights and the area around via this little pole right here. It's a little bit of light where we will use inside of this boss fight, as well as the progressing final boss fight as well. So once we keep progressing and following the checkpoints to different areas, clearing out the blights as we go, we get to our first boss, the Exomita, Taken of the Witness, like I said, at the foot of the pyramid. This boss fight has 3 different sections to it. Once you do enough damage initially, it'll become immune, and on one side of the area, a Taken Blight will form with a champion, and you have to defeat that Taken Blight and use that mechanic with the Node of Light to cleanse the area, which will allow us to do damage again to the boss. Now this mechanic, like I said, is used later on in a little bit different fashion as well, but inside of this boss fight, it is just rinse and repeat with that. Once you deplete that second part of its health bar, it'll become immune, and on the opposite side of where we cleansed that first blight, a second one will appear with a champion again. Inside of this one, it is an unstoppable. There will be some snipers on top with hobgoblins, but all you got to do again is cleanse that blight by defeating it and shooting it. You use that Node of Light to cleanse the area of the Taken on the floor and everything, and then you are allowed again to do damage on the boss, depleting that last health bar, where we can finally move on inside of the pyramid and work our way to the final boss. Now, once we move inside of the pyramid, we're back to dealing with the Shadow Legion and Warden Vincuus. Now, this is our final boss room where we release the prisoners at the end, and we collect our loot by spending our currency this season at that final chest for extra rewards. Now, this boss fight utilizes that 3-person mechanic like we had before, where we do enough damage and the boss will become immune. This time, the area outside of the little blight that we have, where we set the light down to protect ourselves, will start to damage us after about 5 seconds. You will see in your left-hand corner where all your buffs and debuffs are a protection, and once that goes away, you will start getting chunks of your health taken away, kind of how like the blind well is. Now, the reason for this is after we make his shield come up, it utilizes that mechanic of setting the blight down, like I said, where it protects us inside of it, and then we use some Taken Witches that'll spawn to collect a Taken Ball, kind of like the Corrupted Strike, where we throw that Taken Ball to break Jedii's shield. It's similar to this, where we have to collect 3 of those witches when they drop that little mote. We bring it back to the center pole where we were before to keep us safe inside of that little dome from the affecting area. Enemies can shoot into it still, but the AoE damage of the room isn't happening. We turn it into the center pole right here, and it gives us one of those Taken Balls where we have to then throw at the boss's shield, and it has 3 different chunks to it again, so you have to kill 3 different witches and bring those 3 different motes to the center and throw them at the boss to deplete its shield. Then you will be able to do damage on the boss again until that second part is defeated, and we move up closer because his shield comes up, and we'll be able to set down the second area of light to protect ourselves, and then it's just rinse and repeat. Defeat those witches to get the motes, bring them back to that center pole of light right there, get your little Taken Balls to throw at the boss's shield to deplete it, and then finally wipe out that last little bit of health on it, where we can spend our currency at the chest and release those prisoners to get our loot. So it is a pretty lengthy Defiance battleground for us compared to some of our other ones that we've had in the past, but it is pretty rewarding in the loot, and I do like the mechanics that we have to go through, definitely introducing us to stuff in the raid in my personal opinion. So excited to see the other versions of the Battleground that we got here and what else is to come this season with the Witness and the Traveler. So thank you guys for that support, truly appreciate it. Lots of build videos coming out with the new mod system, so be on the lookout for that. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.